You are listening to Tones of the Chaos Bard.
Welcome to the 2023 Mailbag. We have lots of great questions today, and I am your host, Abby, the social media manager and general manager of lots of different things. And the first question we have is actually a question from me. We were having a discussion, David and Elsie and I don't remember when, but it was what does our characters mean? Like our characters' names according to the internet. Elsie.
Yee.
What does Boudreaux mean according to the internet?
Well, I looked up define Boudreaux, and it says U.S. Cajun in parentheses. It says a surname that comes from the French word for farmer, a family surname that means leader of the group. This is common last name for Cajun people. Yeah. So I'm the leader of the group. In case you didn't know, it was just in the, hidden meaning.
Okay, Becky.
So Lila means night.
Like night isn't with a K?
No, as in dark.
Okay.
And then Garatha has a couple of different meanings, depending on where you pull it from. It's a reference to something in old religious ceremonies, or it translates. It's hard to translate it. In some countries, it was also like a last name for some people. In Polish, it represents a specific context, so it's kind of just a amalgamation of different things depending on where you're pulling it from.
Dude, that's cool.
Yep. But there's a Garatha Palace as well, situated near some. I think it's. I don't honestly remember.
A rubber duck factory?
A rubber duck factory. I'd be so happy. I have a small obsession with rubber duckies.
Yes, you do.
No. So it says Garatha, the Palace of Magda, is situated in the mountains, in some place that I cannot even pretend
Like
to know
Magda,
how to.
Utah?
No.
Like Magda.
Like Magda.
as
Like
in-
Diablo 3.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
in a witch.
Killed her last night.
Yeah, sure did. But that is not where I pulled it from at all. I definitely went all nerd with it, and opposite kind of nerd than what, not opposite, but different kind of nerd than David, because I'm a Star Trek fan. It's also pulled from a Klingon name that I heard once upon a time, and I was like, oh, I like that.
What the heck? That's funny.
Okay,
There you go.
Evan.
Wow, that's a really interesting meaning.
Yeah, it
really
was
is.
great, wasn't it?
So I just pulled the name out of the book,
Okay.
but I Googled Roscoe.
The player's book, handbook?
Yeah, I pulled it just right out of the player's handbook for the recommended names.
Really? Okay.
Or it might have been a name generator online. It was one of the two.
Okay,
It
okay.
was just a random fantasy name generator. Anyways, but what it means is Roscoe is a Cornish name originating from the Old Norse words for dough wood or robukopsi? Question mark. It is also an Americanized spelling of the French name Rakakot, and possibly a corruption of.
You don't pronounce the T's in French, by the way, so.
Well, good thing I don't speak French. Roscrow. There you go.
So Fenrir means wolf in Norse mythology.
I knew
Fenrir
that.
is a story from the Norse too, right?
He's the eater and bringer of Ragnarok.
It sure is.
The end of the world.
Oh my gosh, it makes so much more sense now. No, I'm just kidding.
Fenrir's true purpose.
Oh my
But also you play Fenrir more as a traditional Norse bard, a storyteller, instead of just a singer and entertainer.
Right.
Okay.
So I looked up my D&D character name, the dungeon master.
And what does that mean?
Surprisingly, nothing bad. A person who organizes and oversees the playing of fantasy role-playing games of Dungeons and Dragons, in particular by narrating the details of the story that are not controlled by the players. Taking on the role of Dungeon Master is not a simple task.
Oh, that's a good definition.
Hold on. Now I want to know what your most prominent NPCs names mean. Like your
Oh,
favorite
geez.
NPCs.
Solemn,
Yeah.
Solemn?
Or Quill.
which make sure you spell it
we
right.
know what quill means.
No, it's going to have some obscure
While you look
reference.
that up, Henley is actually a casual top with a scoop neck and a short row of buttons in the center of the neckline.
That's true.
And
it
that's
is.
why
It's
Boudreaux
shirt
has a
type.
crush on you. Just kidding. Just
It was created in the late 19th century, originally a style associated with the Henley Royal Regatta.
Oh. So you're a royal shirt.
I'm a shirt. A royal shirt, not the other one.
You could be the other one too.
Well, yeah, I can't be. Except for Henley is not royal. I have other characters that take that role, not in the podcast.
That's okay. I'll do it for you.
Quill is Gaelic. That means from the woods.
Oh.
Ooh.
See?
Was
Oh, wow.
initially
You
thought it was
used
a
as
dumb question.
surname in the
You're a
Irish
dumb
language.
question. No, you're not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not really finding anything for solemn, at least for my
Your spelling.
Spelling of
spelling
Solemn.
of
How do you
solemn.
spell it? How are you spelling it?
How you like Saul from the Bible? U-M. S-A-U-L-U-M.
Yeah, I'm sure if I went to different spellings, it would give me a little.
Like
would
the
probably
actual
just-
word solemn.
Yeah, because it was kind of
A play on
a
that.
play on words. He's a happy-go-lucky person, but yet his name is kind of more.
Well,
Morose.
If you go off
Quiet.
of the spelling SALEM, which is what my phone autocorrects to, it is peaceful, safe, complete, and perfect. So
Leave it at
there's that.
Leave
That's
it
what
at
he
that.
was before he became the Chaos Bard, okay?
No, it's what his parents wished upon him.
Yeah, this is why we named you this way. And he's like, yeah, no. He
I mean, he is a halfling, so.
is a halfling.
All right.
Okay, next question is from Sarah from social media, and she also has a dark fantasy audio book that Becky and I love called Forsaken by Shadows. Check it out. It's great.
Shout out.
Becky, there I wrote, Becky and I are big fans. How is Lila Garotha built mechanically since she is two races?
OP, that's how she's built.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so she took on, because the major contributing factor when they were merged was, that was most malleable, I guess, was probably the gnome. So she's got a lot of the gnomish features and mechanics that way. She got a buff to her. We switched out some of the, like I think it was like the dexterity or something like that, and buffed it a little bit because of the orc and dwarf, as well as the fact that the background was a barbarian that we were going with.
A lot of switching and
So,
choosing.
yeah, it was a lot of homebrew. Am I okay to do this? Yes, you have to give this up, though, type of situations. But mechanically, she's mostly a forest gnome barbarian with a flavor twist.
Okay.
And very OP stats that I rolled super high on. I
Yeah.
could never roll that high again.
Jealous.
Yes, we're all a little jealous.
I know, but I play her like almost like she doesn't know how to use her.
Handle it.
Yeah.
Sometimes she doesn't know how to barbarian. The character,
is,
not Becky.
I say that all the time. She's a barbarian that doesn't know how to barbarian.
Okay, next question is from Coldix Steelskin, also from social media. What is a super specific ability that your characters have that you are excited to use / have used?
So we have to have used it already?
No, you can
That
be
you're excited to use or have used.
Whether that's a future level.
I'll go first. I
time.
love Henley's ability to be able to Misty Step without using a spell slot because of a feat. The Fey Touched, so good. But it also kind of fits into Henley's subclass, which is a Horizon Walker, which eventually I will get Misty Step as a usable spell slot thing too. Because
So you can move
it's a
use it more
planar
than once.
warrior.
So you can use it more than once.
Yes. Elsie.
The one I'm excited about to one day hopefully use, David, is Turn Undead. It's my
Oh, I
channel
like using that one.
divinity. I want to do that. Yeah.
I think you get that at 5th level?
No, I have it.
Oh, you have it.
She just
Oh,
hasn't
you just
had
haven't
the
had an opportunity because we haven't ran into. Well, we have ran into undead, but
I haven't.
But
It was
Boudreaux wasn't
literally a whole town of them.
that's true.
there. Just wasn't there.
Yeah. So, and I probably wouldn't have used it there either. So, but no, I'm excited so that I can turn the undead. So,
You're gone.
Okay, Becky.
I don't have one that I'm super excited about because my character is kind of in a limbo stage with lots of different things that could happen or couldn't happen. So I can't look too far ahead. So right now, I really like the fact that whenever I rage, I have to roll on a wild table. I think that's always exciting
I mean, it is.
because I never know what's going to happen. Which is also very scary for me because I'm a planner and I like to know what's going on.
Very scary for me too. So, where could this go?
Because you totally could have almost killed Roscoe if you'd have rolled that one time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's lots of those things where like it could be super detrimental to the party.
Yep. Roscoe. Evan.
I mean, so it's twofold. Obviously, by the time I reach max level, the exuberant amount of attacks that I will get is going to be great. Even once I reach level 5, I get second attack. But honestly, the thing that I've loved the most, as much as I love my my arcane shots and stuff, my polearm mastery has come in so much handy because it's got it's got multiple functions to it. Someone comes within 10 feet of me. It promotes that opportunity attack. Someone attacks someone next to me is my sentinel attack, and I can beat them up too. Plus, I get a bonus attack after every attack where I can hit them with the tail end of the thing. So it's just like whack, 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 whack all day long with the glaive and stuff.
We
so.
probably would not have survived in 55 and 56 without that.
Well, you know what's funny about this whole thing too is like when you had decided to go away from the pole arm mastery a little bit more to the arrows, you're like, "Hey, Dave, can I switch this out?" And he's like, "Nah, it's already established." And you're like, "Dang!" And now you're like, "I love this."
True. I mean, and so don't I thoroughly enjoy being a man of many talents with my arcane shots, being able to do just as much from a distance as we saw in one of the earlier episodes on our way to Avalon, as much as I can in a cave when I'm up close and personal. But yeah, in one of these most recent episodes, I tag hit after hit after hit on a couple of guys, and they just line right up, and it's glorious.
Feels good to hit.
It's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that's like.
That comes from the barbarian.
Zeb.
So I'm going to do twofold here. One that is kind of behind the scenes that you don't really see a lot is the Jack of all trades.
Yes.
Is a bard where you can take half your proficiency and add it to your ability checks. And so
Anything that you're not
anything
already
that I'm
proficient in.
Right, not already proficient
All
in.
your
So
skill
I
checks.
automatically get a 1 to everything, and then that really boosts some of the other checks that I'm not as great with. So that's kind of nice when I'm rolling. The other one that you haven't seen me use is the Inspiring Leader feat.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And
right.
so I'm hoping that will you'll start to hear that. You start to see that, especially as we roll through the cave.
Yeah. I'm excited. That's such a really cool feat. Okay, next question. We're blowing through these. Okay, this one is from Ryan R. From actually is one of our patrons. Thank you, Ryan.
Woo!
This question is for each player again. What went into the design of your character? Did you draw upon characteristics of someone you know, or maybe from another character in a book or a film? Boudreaux.
Okay, so I don't know if you've ever watched Dragon Prince, but the king in there, before he dies in the first season, spoilers, his hair, that is Boudreaux's hair 100%. And it is beautiful hair, and that is where one inspiration comes from. The other is if you've ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you've seen the swamp episode, the swamp people, yeah. That's where Boudreaux is, and he's also just a very simple guy. So like brown pants, white shirt, done. So
Also, I really want you to tell you where you got Boudreaux's name.
oh, that's one of the questions.
Is it? Oh, never mind. Later. Becky.
So is it talking about like visually characteristics? Like, because it says the design, but like, what do you mean?
I think all of the above.
Okay.
Like, what went into your creation of your character? That, like, what inspired you?
I think we talked about this first, Mailbag, that I really wanted to do a multiple personality character, and David kept telling me no. And I was like, let me do it. And he's like, fine, but these are the stipulations. And then it was originally supposed to be a Tiefling, and he's like, are you sure you want to do that? Because you're going to have a target on your back the entire time. And I said, well, I just guess I'll be a freak.
Ended up being more of a freak than
And
a
then I ended up
tiefling.
being more a freak. I don't know. I really liked the idea of playing a gnome because I'd never played a gnome before. But I was like, okay, well, what's the opposite of a gnome? An orc. Let's do an orc. And then David's like, okay, did you know like orcs and dwarves really, that's not a good, like that's not a common mix. I was like, really? Because they're like right next to each other. He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, it's too late now. I already designed it that way. But yeah, so visually there's a lot of things taken from nature and things like that from the gnomish side of things. Because I still see gnomes as very nature oriented, especially the forest type of gnomes. But that's also how I feel like the forest elves are, is even in the things that they wear and stuff like that. If it's not derived from something natural, then it's emulating that. So that's where I pull a lot of that from. And then dwarves are stone people, so there's got to be some representation there. Mm-hmm. And little baby Undertest, because you got to have some orc somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's a lot. Sorry.
No, it's good.
Roscoe.
Okay. So Roscoe, there's kind of a little bit of everything. In case anyone listening is not aware, I am a huge nerd.
Huge.
Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all of the above. Obviously the top two being Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. So they were kind of a lot of my inspiration. A lot of Roscoe's personality I actually kind of draw from my good guy Samwise Gamgee.
Woo! Woo-hoo.
Shout out the real hero.
The actual real hero. Yes.
He, you know, as you've read books, you've watched the movies, he's kind of the behind the scenes pilot of the adventure for him and Frodo and stuff. And he's there to support Frodo, but when he has his moments, they really, really come through, like his speech at the end of the Two Towers as to why they're all there and stuff. As far as, like everything else, halflings, because, the luck feat, and I know that I don't have good rolls. That was very much a part of that. But as far as like the weapon choice and everything, I actually happened to just be watching the Clone Wars animated series at the time we were doing this for like the 7th time. And it was in one of the later seasons where Ahsoka is being put on trial, and she's got the temple guards, and they've got the longer kind of staff saber sort of things. And I'm like, that's cool because they wield them both as, a lightsaber and, a handheld lightsaber and kind of more of a staff saber sort of situation. And so I kind of went off that with the use of the glaive and the multifunction personality that it has now that I've worked out with Dave and stuff. So it's kind of just a mesh of all my nerdiness into one person.
And I love it. Ding, ding, ding.
Also his ponytail.
Also, his ponytail.
Yeah, the ponytail is from it was The Legend of Korra.
Oh.
And it was what is his the Earthbender guy?
Bolin.
Bolin, yes. He was the inspiration for the ponytail.
Except for Bolin doesn't have a ponytail.
He was the face. He was the
face.
And the ponytail, I don't know. The ponytail just sounded cool, I think, is what it was.
Korra has a ponytail.
Sure.
Well, Korra has a ponytail.
But yeah, so it's kind of like I said, just kind of a mesh of nerd.
Amalgamation of his favorite things, basically.
Okay, Seb.
Yeah, so my character comes from, at the time of creation, I was watching The Witcher on Netflix.
Yeah.
Not
That makes
so
a lot of
family-friendly.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. But the bard on there, at least in the Netflix show, is Yaskier. And I kind of drew a little bit from him. Bits and pieces of Fenrir.
So do I need to start throwing coins at you?
Also, I have to say, as Fenrir has evolved as we played the podcast, too, because of all his different names.
Oh, I love this.
That's valid.
Who is
What about
Fenrir?
Henley?
We'll get there. Solemn. We've never really discussed Solemn's character creation. Like
Yeah, let's
his
do it.
design
okay.
and all of that stuff.
So Solemn and a little bit of Quill later, I drew heavily off of one of my favorite Don Knotts movies called Hot Lead and Cold Feet. Because there's an old guy in there that if you know about this show, it's an old show.
It's probably free on YouTube if you want to watch it.
You probably could, possibly. It's probably in one of his Don Knotts top movies as well, if you go find that. But anyways,
It's really random.
but there's a character in there that's the dad that's trying to get his twin sons to get them together. One's a preacher and one's an outlaw. And trying to get him to mesh together, but he's faked his own death to get his boys back together. And the whole time he's just eavesdropping during the whole chaos that's going on between the two sons. But every time he's trying to
Barely skirting sometimes, by the way.
barely, and he's always meddling in little things like, "Oh, this is going wrong. I gotta fix it. And his butler would be, or not his butler, his manservant. I don't know what you would call him.
Yep, manservant.
That he was always in the middle of things. So that's kind of the where Quill comes in. So that's kind of the inspiration that I got.
And the butler
For
saves
him.
his life many times.
A lot of times, yeah. He's always part of the scheme, but also doesn't like being part of the scheme as well. So that's where I got the inspiration for Solemn.
And the look is he's just a chubby, fun-loving halfling.
Yeah. Just wants to
Gotta
add
love
a
our
little-
halflings here.
We're going to see more of him when we get to Mapleshire.
Possibly.
No, he's gonna be absent because he just was secretly from Mapleshire a long time ago too, and doesn't want to go back there.
Shun the non-believer.
Okay, Henley. So Henley's character design, I actually based her a bit off of my mom. So my mom has auburn hair and brown eyes, but also has brought herself out of difficult situations and triumphed over them. And she's also one of my heroes. So I really wanted to make a character kind of coming from a dark place, but making her life better by the choices she makes, or more difficult sometimes. Also, I've been told Henley kind of looks a little bit like Anna, which is like annoying, but Anna is really the hero of the Frozen series. Every single time, she's the one that saves Elsa. Every single time. She doesn't get enough credit.
Abby
But-
feels passionately about this because she has little girls.
Yes.
I mean, just let it go.
I can't let it go. But also,
Cold never bothered her anyway.
the actual Ranger Corps is actually based off of the Ranger Apprentice series.
Yes.
Really good, really, really good series. Also,
Sponsor us.
Also, I had to throw in a little bit of Fluttershy from My Little Pony. Huge fan. Because Henley is shy and awkward, but she also has that inward fire that Fluttershy has that nobody messes with Fluttershy when she is passionate about something. So, yeah, that's Henley.
Yeah, I know when Abby and I were going out to lunch one time. But I don't remember if it was just after we started the podcast or just before we started the podcast. That's exactly how you described her. She's pretty much just Fluttershy in human form, where she's super shy and unsure of her decisions until somebody or something that she cares deeply about is in trouble or hurt, and then you don't mess with her.
Yep. But the reason why she's shy is, back to the Avalon episodes, is because she made really rash, redheaded decisions because she was really passionate.
I take
and now
offense
she's.
to this.
Well, you did say. Redheads are just blondes with high blood pressure.
Yeah.
High blood pressure, angsty. A lot of redheads are actually pretty mild-tempered, but generally not so much in media purposes or pop culture. They're generally hot-headed, so I was kind of going off of that.
Fight me.
Case in point.
Case in point.
So, those of you that didn't know, Elsie's a redhead.
The defense rests.
What's the next question?
Okay, this is from Kristen. I will read exactly what she said. I have a bit of an odd question. Does the magic quill use ink? Or is he magic so he doesn't need ink? And she has actually a business called Amberglow Treasures, where she makes dice towers and mugs that are one. So you can drink your drink and roll your dice at the same time.
But you might have to drink your drink to get your dice. But it's worth it.
You won't know what you rolled until you drink your drink.
That could make for a very fun game.
Actually,
It might not be family friendly. Though.
A little bit
depends on what's in the drink.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. So, does Quill have magic ink? I would say that Quill can write magically, like it just comes out. But I think Solemn, being kind of traditional, forces Quill to write with normal ink.
He's imposing his
Forces
chaos
him to
upon him.
Yeah.
get the tip dirty.
He's just to bug Quill. He's like, no. I need you to use this ink. And so I think, yeah, it tastes horrible. I think just to bug Quill, Solemn makes him use normal ink. But that's why, with all the rage that Quill has into him, that's what makes him so fiery and sometimes randomly explode because of the frustration.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
When he does explode, does he say, "Aw, you just made me ink"?
Oh, no, yeah.
Asking.
I wouldn't say that's a question. That was more of a statement.
I just had to
he
find a way to put it out there.
That's what makes the ink that Solemn makes Quill use is from the ashes of Quill.
Of previous
That's what I
quills? Oh, my goodness.
Grinds it up, makes it into an
That's
ink.
savage.
That's a little
Okay,
disturbing.
question.
So it is kind of magical.
So,
ink that he
Kristen-
makes Quill use.
0.75.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay. This question is, I have a question for Roscoe. So Roscoe, here you go. Does Roscoe have any romantic feelings for anyone in the world of Keleth? And she said, thank you so much. If you happen to see this and answer it sincerely, Lily.
Aww.
Well, Lily. No. To put it simply, he's got his friends. He's never been a interest for him. I mean,
He sees all the drama with Boudreaux and Lila. He's like, no, don't want that.
he wants to know who he is before he settles down. He doesn't want to. He doesn't know who he is, so it's hard to know. Okay, even if there were a romantic interest, he wouldn't act on it because he's like, I don't know where I'm going to be in a year. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I like it here. I don't know if I like it there. I don't know if I'm going to be
I don't know if I like it anywhere.
out fighting bad guys or farming potatoes, until he knows where he sits in life. He doesn't think that it would be fair for any sort of romantic person to be dragged along on that adventure with him.
Makes
Roscoe
sense.
and Henley fist bump.
So he's just
It
he's
makes
just
sense
hanging out.
because that's why his name is Roscoe.
Let's go.
Makes sense.
Do you think that is partially like he's just putting himself at a distance because of that? Because he doesn't know who he is, so it's just an insecurity that he has. He's like, I can't put myself out there because I don't know who I am, so I don't know who I'll be in 3 years for this person.
I mean, yeah, it would be reasonable. He also,
I haven't thought
he's
that
like,
deep
if
into it.
I don't know who I am, how can I expect to get close enough to someone else for them to know who I am? Because if they like me this way and I discover that I'm not this, if I if Roscoe falls madly in love with an adventurer, right? And he decides, nope, I'm going to go be a farmer. Well, then the person that person fell in love with wasn't really Roscoe, or vice versa. If he goes home and he decides he wants to be a farmer and he starts farming potatoes and he meets up with a nice little hobbit farmer and they're like, he's like, yeah, I'm bored with this. I'm going to go back out there. And she's just like, no, it's not fair. So, he's still trying to figure out who he is.
He's still a young halfling.
So no.
And he's still young. Yeah.
I said no, and you guys wanted more, so you got more.
You just started expounding.
We like it. I like it.
Thanks, Lily.
Okay. This question is actually from Elsie. How did everyone pick their name for their character?
I already answered this question.
Yeah, you guys did actually. Boudreaux's name is actually my people from the South, you'll know. It's called The Cajun Night Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
The dog in that book is named Boudreaux.
It's also a last name.
Yeah, but it's just the name of the dog.
I know. I'm just.
I think Elsie asked this question just so she could answer it for herself.
Yeah, how did you know that?
She's like, I want everybody to know.
I didn't pick Henley's name. David picked Henley's name because she was an NPC in campaign 2.
Yep.
And you chose to play her.
So why'd you pick it,
and
David?
I chose to pick it.
I just thought it was a pretty name.
Aw.
He had no idea it was a shirt.
It's a shirt style.
Nope.
I like the name Lila. And Garatha sounded angry, so that's character.
That works.
Out of a book or a name generator, I don't remember, but it was no thought behind it. I just went until I found something that looked good.
At the time of making the character, I was playing through the game Final Fantasy X, and Fenrir is a monster, obviously a wolf, on that game, and I was looking through all the monster names trying to think of a cool name, and that's the one that I settled on.
And how'd you come up with the last name?
It's a palindrome.
That's a smart way of saying it. He wrote his name backwards.
His name's a palindrome, and he is a conundrum as well.
Yeah. He doesn't know who he is. That's why he has all these nicknames. Hold on. Let's see. What are all these nicknames?
No, we're not going to spend 20 minutes going through this.
Benny, Ben,
He's got
Fenrir.
quite a few.
Anyway, next question.
Okay. Next question, podcast question. My question is, and this is from Sir Grenshaw on Twitter. How are your, what are your big goals for the new year?
Like humans or like characters?
I think
Like
it was
Podcast.
Oh, That makes more sense.
So I can answer this one first. I think definitely growing it, trying to boost our numbers, because we honestly feel like we have something cool and unique here. Being family friendly. We're not the only family friendly podcast out there. But I do feel like our background of trying to make, Solemn uses this phrase all the time in the post show when he's doing reviews and stuff like that. It's like having little ears deserve the right to hear type idea, but also making it fun and enjoyable for adults. So that's been our thing from the beginning, and getting that out there to let parents know that there is a good thing if they want to share their passion for TTRPGs. Here's a podcast that they can share it with. We do have a father and daughter that listen to this, and it's been one of their fun things, and it's been heartwarming to me to know that that's been a positive thing in their life. And of course, getting the Ko-Fi up and running was a big thing, and making that grow so we can do more stuff, as in go to cons, go to different places for more people, our fans, to be able to see us and meet us.
Yeah, and eventually upgrade our equipment. Although our equipment is pretty good.
Our equipment's definitely a mic upgrade would be that. And just getting more content for you. And the bigger the Ko-Fi gets, the more content that we'll be able to supply as well.
Yeah.
So I guess becoming more popular would it be coming down without being prideful, right?
Gonna be popular.
But I do think that we have something here that everybody can hear.
I think it would be really cool to reach 60,000 downloads this year or more.
We're halfway there.
We're halfway there. But it would be really cool to get those bump up those numbers.
Anybody else have an answer for that?
Big
I'm
girls.
just along for the ride.
I want Boudreaux to have a kill
we
count.
wanted to have.
Kill
Oh yeah, you haven't
Boudreaux.
killed anyone.
If you want that to happen, Garotha really does keep kill counts for everybody.
Yeah, and mine's 0.
Quit saving people.
Also, putting T-shirts on our Ko-Fi, I think.
Yes, that would be another thing.
My goal for the podcast is just to be able to hang out with you guys. So thanks. It's happening.
I was thinking the same thing. Just kind of a chance to come hang out,
Adult
enjoy
interaction a little bit.
adult
Yeah.
interaction.
Shout out to babysitters and
mom.
spouses who
And
let us do
parents and
this.
spouses,
Guys,
yeah.
I
Amen to
don't
that.
want adult interaction. I just want big fans.
That's true. That has been Elsie's big goal from the beginning. I want to go to the big ones. I want to be known.
No.
I want more Dear Boudreaux letters.
Look, I just want people to giggle.
And you do a
Elsie
great
really
job
enjoys
with that.
making people laugh.
Yeah.
Also, Abby has a goal as well. I love adding the sound effects and and the music and stuff, and I am really getting more involved and more in depth with that. So I'm excited to learn more and gather more sound effects so that it's even more audio drama, old time radio-esque. Sometimes it's better than others, but I really enjoy doing that. I want to keep getting better. Oh, awkward. Okay.
What?
Next question.
Just quiet. Okay. This question, there's actually multiple. One specifically for Zeb in this one.
Okay.
This is from DM Uriah. Why, Zeb, did you choose to play a bard?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you've probably picked up, as me, as Zeb, I'm a very quiet person, pretty introverted, don't really
Would have never
speak
thought of
unless
that.
spoken to, chime in every once in a while, but, you could say I'm the middle child, I have 5 brothers and sisters, so I'm the middle child, and so I wouldn't, just always kind of the quiet one, and just sat in the back, got my work done, and that's kind of my personality. And so I wanted to challenge that a little bit. And so I knew as a bard, with some of the, bardic inspirations and some of the feats, like it was me stepping outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It was, but it's also not, because you also, knowing you for quite a while, you like to sit back and observe, but you also like to ask questions,
Very true.
which is something that a lot of, especially the type of bard that you play, which is more the storyteller, that type of bard has to do so you can get the full story. Almost kind of like a reporter, but not really.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think makes it slightly easier for you to play a bard, because the last couple of characters you have played have been different, and you've played them more to your strengths rather than the character strengths. But
True.
you still have to put yourself into any of the characters that you have a little
Right.
bit.
You do.
And I've really enjoyed seeing you step out, because I've known you since junior high. I mean, that's,
Right.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, that's almost, do I dare say, like...
That's over half your life right
yeah,
now.
20
But
years,
yeah,
yeah.
it's been dang close to 20 years. We've all kind of known or the three of us.
The three of us, yeah.
have
Me,
known
Evan.
each other. So
What about you guys over here? You guys know each other? I'm just kidding.
But
I've known her since she was born.
I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me.
But seeing,
Elsie met us 2 years ago.
But you gotta have
is that when she was adopted?
Yes. Oh, shut up. David, you want to say something. Go ahead.
But knowing Zeb for so long and seeing him step out of his comfort zone, because he's definitely the quiet one. A lot of times when you'd be hanging out as a group, it would be like, oh yeah, Zeb's here.
Like, wait, we're at Zeb's house. Where's Zeb?
There he is. But seeing him step out as Fenrir, to see those little moments of like, oh, like when he wrote that parody
This is
song,
me. That episode.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
like that
Yes.
blew my mind, because Zeb wouldn't have done that.
Nope.
And so it was really cool to see him step out of his comfort zone and sing for a live audience, for one, and just be able to be willing to put that out to the world too.
Yeah.
So I've definitely appreciated that growth as a
Also-
person and as Fenrir.
Yes.
Bravo.
Also, Zeb said something today that he's beginning to be able to find that separation
Yeah.
between himself and Fenrir, which is actually a really good skill to use, like in a workplace environment or anything. Because you being able to put on a different persona means that persona gets attacked and not your personal
Right.
or whatever.
your
Little
personal.
psychology there, but
That's why you have your customer service voice, everybody. That's what that really is.
that's what that is. Okay, actually, that kind of leads into how did you guys meet in the first place? We've kind of touched a little bit on this. Are there any funny stories?
Lots of funny stories. Elsie's hilarious.
So for the boys,
Bad boys.
I mean,
They saw each
Dave
other
and
through
I have
puberty.
been, we went to school together
Since elementary school.
since I moved out here, honestly. I mean, we didn't know each other. We didn't come be real good friends until junior high-ish.
Yeah.
But we've known each other. We've lived in the vicinity. We've known of each other's existence since third grade, fourth
grade-ish,
grade.
something like that. Yeah.
It was fourth grade, yeah.
Didn't start associating until
Zeb showed up.
yeah.
Because Zeb, you moved out. You moved out this way, right?
Yep. I moved here when we were in
Fifth or sixth grade, I
Fifth or
think.
sixth.
Right.
Yeah,
So
we had a common friend in Bryce, and then we started playing basketball together.
Yep.
Was when we really started becoming friends.
and I think we started becoming friends when we started going to church together a little
Correct.
bit more.
Yeah, we were in the same ward.
And so our friendship, the three of our friendship, kind of just grew from that. I kind of was just the tag along everywhere. So
Hey guys.
at school and stuff, if I'd walk by, in the morning or whatever in the commons, and they were all sitting over there on the cool steps, being the cool kids and stuff, I'd go and sit down and kind of hang out with them and stuff. But I mean, as far as that side of things, and then my wife has this story that she likes to tell everyone that I still don't remember, in my defense. But
He was a jerk to me when he first met me.
we both worked at Lagoon, which is the local amusement park here in Utah and stuff. And when I first met her, I guess the first day that I went into work in the Arby's there as a supervisor or manager,
Because I was a supervisor.
she was there, and I went in, and apparently it was just a total jerk to her. I do not stand by that. I have no recollection of that. But we'll go with it.
That sounds like it's pretty on par for that year for you, though, because you kind of had a come to Jesus meeting at one point in time and told you were had to stop being so mean by your
Also
other
true.
management members. So that could be why you don't remember it. But there's also a lot of other dramatic things that happened to you that year, so that's okay. But yeah, he was a huge jerk to me when we first met. He tried to come in and tell me how to do my job, which I'd been doing for months, so I already knew how to do it. And I was kind of a little hothead. Shocker. If you've seen listened to my character at all, that's just a little bit of
This
me.
is me.
That's
Who
that
she
is me.
is.
No, I'm not that hot-headed, but I can be a little bit of a hothead. So I was like, who is he to come in and tell me how to do my job and stuff like that? And then I actually
Superior.
briefly dated one of his friends, very briefly. And that's how we started talking outside of work, was because I went to go drop off said ex's stuff at his house, and Evan was there.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't a complete jerk.
Not at that point in time, but it was kind of awkward because he's like, "Oh, you looked nice tonight," and I think I was dropping off stuff and then picking up that ex's little sister to go up somewhere.
Well, you were dropping her off from going,
Going up
to
Peach Days.
and I happened to be sitting in the lab office room with
Mm-hmm.
the friend while he was playing something on the PlayStation.
I don't
2,
know. And then he
probably
texted
some
me.
sort of-
And he's like, "You looked really
shooter
nice
game.
tonight," and I was like, "That's kind of weird and odd."
Excuse me, who are you? New number, who dis?
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, that's how we met and actually got to start liking each other's company, and then we were friends for a long time.
Yep.
And eventually,
And then eventually,
they got married, and then David and I met. David's dad worked with my grandma, and we both had just gotten out of a gross relationship, and my grandma and his dad convoluted together and told them, "Hey, we should hook up your granddaughter and my son." And we started talking on Facebook, and
I remember this.
hey, me too. I was here for this.
You were.
yes, you were.
Elsie was too, just on the other side. She just didn't care.
She was a youngin'.
Well,
But anyway, I started going on dates with David, and I met Zeb and Evan and Becky, and then I went on a 2-year mission for our church, and then came back and married him.
and then we started taking
And everybody
bets
took
before
bets
then.
on
Yeah,
when
we
we were
did.
going to have kids.
So this is two-part. We all took bets on when you were going to get married, when David was going to pop the question, when you were going to get married, and then when you were going to have
And then
kids.
after
Yes.
that was done, we moved on to the kid side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got 2 out of the 3 right, just so everybody knows.
There you go.
That is
Okay,
true.
now it's my turn for the record. This is my sister Abby. I was asked to be a part of this podcast, and I'm very, very grateful because I really, really love it. And that's how I met the rest of these guys. And yes, question number 1, it is very weird because these guys are all married and old. They're
Hey,
so
to be fair, when we started this, Zeb wasn't married.
Okay, but
we
At
started,
the time,
yeah.
he
that's
was not.
true. But still,
We teased him like that we would like auction off him to go on an online date with
Oh
somebody.
yeah, we did do that at one point.
Yeah. we
but
did.
that's
He's
funny.
like, nope, I got to find a wife real soon.
But,
Too long after that.
That is actually not the first time that you and I met, but I don't know if you remember that or not. I met you briefly when I was picking up my kids from David and Abby's old house before mission. And then Abby was like, "My sister's going on a mission." I was like, "Is that the redhead that I met that one time?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That annoying creep. Yeah, that's me. But yeah, so it is weird, but I love these guys and they're very nice to me.
Oh, we love you too. She feels like she has to say that because half of them are her family.
And when I first met Elsie, I thought she was really annoying.
It's true, but don't tell me that. It hurts my feelings.
Oh, that's okay. But I love you now. You're one of my favorite people. And I changed my mind. And then, of course, course, I met Becky through Evan when they started dating.
Yeah.
It's true.
Down the road when they were dating.
Yeah,
But
that's about the same time that I met Zeb.
Okay, there's
think we met at
actually.
the same time.
And a funny story about that,
Oh,
because they
gosh.
asked about a funny story,
Oh yes.
is when at Evan and Becky's wedding,
Oh yeah.
they had, so Evan, a lot of the tradition is to, what is that? The
Garter?
The
The
garter.
garter. The tradition is you throw it to all the single guys, and the one who catches it is going to be married next. Well, Evan had the brilliant idea. They got married on a baseball field, and Evan decided to put it on a baseball and hit it. So we all had to catch it. I caught it, and I I was going to have Becky sign the ball, but I forgot her name.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
I was like, "Hey, you want to sign this ball?" And she's like, "What's my name?" And I was like,
That was a running joke for a while.
"It was. It was." She almost didn't sign
say
it
my
for me.
name.
She almost didn't sign the ball for me.
You
Yeah, that
still
was-
have that ball.
Do you
somewhere.
really?
It's somewhere.
Oh,
I have
gosh.
that one. It's really weird to think about that now, that I have her garter, and another friend's garter as well. Which that friend I dated. So now it's really weird.
And you also
My
have a
friend was-
baseball bat that has all the guys they ever dated on it.
Yeah. That was one of your traditions, which I thought that was really weird. Going on a date with you, and your dad had me sign the baseball bat. He's like, "Now I got a bat with your name on it."
It's true.
And then once I married
It's a
you,
running joke at our
It
house.
is.
Elsie has a tomahawk.
Yeah.
The bat is way better than a tomahawk.
Well, being the youngest girl, I just gotta know what's right.
You just like to be different.
And I have
We
a lot
love
of
you for
older
it.
siblings, okay? Leave me alone.
Okay. Back another question, and Zeb, you don't have to answer this since we haven't really gone into Fenrir's backstory much. But what are some of the main points in Fenrir's backstory?
Yeah, and honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out. I know that he loves like studying and reading different books. He's been traveling all around Keleth and just wants to find kind of a ragtag. Maybe I shouldn't say ragtag. But wants to find a group that just to tell their stories. If you listen to like my Fenrir's episode, he goes into each character and why he's like with them and why he's in the group, and I think that's a big piece of his backstory.
I like that.
Like it?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I also think that also points out you don't have to know every single detail about your character's backstory to be able to play them.
Preach.
right.
exactly. That's one thing that I do. I come up with a concept of like, "Ooh, I want this little thing," and as you role play, you learn things about them. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
things about
Oh, yeah.
playing, is you learn different things. Something will happen.
Also
be like, why
learn-
did I?
Things about yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That part I don't like so much. I
Yeah.
like learning about my character, not myself.
It's true.
I concur.
Yeah.
Okay. Speed round. What are the party subclasses? Hanley, Horizon Walker.
I'm a nature cleric. Okay, moving on.
Wild magic.
Wild magic barbarian.
Wild magic barbarian. Makes sense.
I'm an arcane archer fighter.
I'm a College of Lore bard.
College of War?
Lore.
Oh, I thought you said war.
what I thought.
was like,
Like College of
Too, I
War.
was like, since
Dude,
when?
sign me up for that
That'd be kind of a cool bard.
Oh yeah.
College of War.
is the
one.
big.
Your whole job is to inspire the armies and the troops
Yeah.
and
If
Definitely
if
keeping
one
the
of our
morale of
fans
the
comes
troop,
up
yeah.
with that, we want to see the stats.
Yeah.
College of Lore. Okay. This is
Wait,
what
but
Bible
Solomons-
verse inspires you guys most? We have lots of Bible verses that inspire us, but we're going to share one apiece.
Yeah.
Let's start with DM Dave.
Start with me. Oh boy. So when this question was asked, I thought of this one, so I found it, and it is in Proverbs, and it is chapter 21, verse 19.
Also, we read the King James Version, just
Yeah,
so you know.
King James version, and it says, it is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman.
Oh.
So,
This is the reason David can never live with me.
contentious and cantankerous woman.
the reason why I thought of this one, because I remember growing up and a lot of people use this as like a joking one. Be careful who you marry, because it's better to live in the wilderness than an angry woman. But it's one of those things to me of like, to better myself, to make my wife happy, so I don't feel like I have to go live in the wilderness to get away from her. To live my life according to a way that we cannot be contentious and that I can please her. Kind of like, if there is a problem, look inwards and be like, okay, what? Very much of the story, Lord, is it I? Right? When all the apostles are trying to figure out who's going to betray Jesus. Lord, is it I? Am I the reason why my wife is being contentious and angry? How can I help that not happen? How can I be a peacekeeper? So
How can you be a helpmeet?
Yes, a
Yeah.
helpmate. Because I truly believe a marriage is very much a 50-50 thing, but you give 100% of yourself into it. Because if both of you don't give that 100% into it, that marriage is not going to last. So it's not always her fault. It's not always my fault. And nor should there be a fault, if that makes sense. Forgive, love, and you can figure it out.
It was like that gift we got when we had our reception. Someone tore a $5 bill right in front of us and was like, "This is your gift." And they gave half to me and half to David and was like, "You can't be worth,
You're worth more together.
you're worth more together."
Yep.
Okay, I'll go next. So one of my favorite Bible verses is in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. But it says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." I love that verse because if we are trying to live our best lives and trying to follow the principles of Jesus Christ, everything is then added therein. David and I have seen these blessings come from the podcast too, because we were prompted to start the podcast and to share this story. But we've noticed that as we pay our tithing and keep the commandments, that the podcast does better. We can see our numbers do better and a lot of that is thanks to you guys. We're so appreciative. But yeah, so yeah,
My turn.
it's his turn.
My favorite verse of all scripture, or just one of my very good reminders to me, is St. John 15:19. "If you were of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you." And the first thing is people usually go, "That's a really rough scripture there, Elsie." But I really like it because I have felt like a lot in my life that I've always been different. And I know a lot of people feel that way. And I feel very judged and stuff in school. And I was bullied a little bit. And it was nice to know that my Heavenly Father chose me out of this world, and that that sometimes the world may hate you, but it's okay, because I am not a part of this world. I'm a part of my Heavenly Father's. Thank you.
I will always love you.
Well, thank you.
Me too.
I guess I can love you too.
You're kind of family obligation, whatever.
Yeah.
It means more for me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I have a lot of scripture verses that I really like, but right now I've been reading a lot of the Revelations again. And Evan hates it. He hates that book. I actually really like that book, but I think part of it, I think it's because I'm a planner and I like to know what's going to happen. He does not like it for the same reason. But what I have taken away from that is sometimes you have to go through the bad things to get to the good things. Sometimes things get worse before they get better. And I just got reminded of that the other day. I work in the medical field on the administration side of things. And one of my providers was like, no, we were talking about a patient, and she's like, I can't really help her because she hasn't been compliant with her medication and things like that. So it's going to get worse before it can get better. And it just reminded me of that, exactly what I was reading that day. And I struggle with some pretty serious depression, and some serious things have kind of happened recently in my life.
Preach.
On multiple fronts. So it just kind of is my mantra right now that sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. And it's just going to be an uphill swing.
Sometimes darkness shows you the light.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
But it hurts.
But it hurts. But so does growth. Growth
Yeah.
hurts sometimes.
When I was on my mission, there's a terminology for new missionaries. It's called green missionaries. And one of the sisters I was with at the time said, stay green because green things grow. And I love that. If you stop growing, you get old and crusty and brown.
Crusty.
Crusty. Wow.
And you die.
And
Whoa.
die.
That was just dramatic there.
Evan?
Yeah, she's right. I don't like Revelations. It scares me. I'm going to be a cheater on multiple fronts. I'm actually going to take us out of the Bible because I have a hard time with the Bible.
That's okay.
But in our religion, we have a book called The Doctrine and Covenants. And it's the whole fourth section. It's only 7 verses. It's something that, I don't know if Dave remembers back in our youth days, every Sunday when we started one of our classes, we would recite the entire section and stuff. And it's about missionary work and stuff. And it's a really great section. But more than that, it's just about, regardless of what religion you practice, it doesn't matter. Go out, be a good person, help the people that's in need, spread the joy, don't spread the anger and the fear and the hatred and stuff. Be the example for who you want to be. It doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter what religion you are or what religion you aren't, just be that person and be that example to who you want people to know you are.
Be your best self.
Be the light on the hill.
Yep. A lot of times growing up, I understood, and even on the mission as well, we were told, be somebody, because people know you, they would want to know Christ because they see Christ in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those things. And whatever religion you are, just like Evan said, whatever religion or not religious, just trying to be a good person. Share the joy, stop the hate.
Being kind.
Yeah.
Rewind.
When I first heard this question and I got thinking about it, like there's a Bible verse in Zechariah that talks about a flying roll, and I was gonna roll that with like a food fight and make a joke of it. But then as we got talking about it, Abby suggested, and she's like, is it gonna be one of the shortest Bible verses that I think it's probably the shortest
It is
Bible
the
verse.
shortest.
Because it's only 2 words and you can memorize it right now.
Sweet.
But it's John 11:35 and it's Jesus wept. And it's very short, but yet the depth behind that verse and why, Jesus is weeping it's just a reminder to me that in people's lives, like as you come across them, like very seldomly do you understand the depth of what they're going through. And there was a quote, and I forget who it's by or where I read it, but it talks about how as you come across people and as you recognize people, like treat them as if they are having the worst day of their life. And 50% of the time, that's probably going to be true. And it just makes me think of like the depth behind, as people, we are very complex, not simple folks, and what people go through and you just never know what people are going through the day that you come across them, and so it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, just being kind, and I hope that this podcast does that. Like it's more of an uplifting thing, I guess, that you're listening to.
Yeah. No, I love that. And Jesus, sorry. We're not getting too preachy here. But I love that scripture, Jesus wept, but I also love that it ties into the Book of Mormon where Alma baptizes all those people. That's comfort those that stand in need of comfort. Mourn with those that mourn. Be with them in their moment. Don't just tell them, oh, it'll get better. Oh, but be sad with them. Jesus knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead, but yet he still wept with them because they were sad. He was with them in that moment.
And sometimes it's okay to not be okay.
It is okay to not be okay.
Right.
And one of the things, just to tie this back into the podcast, we want you to be with our characters, to feel what they feel. And maybe they can help you overcome and give you the strength or, even the separation from yourself to feel. Because you can feel through them. Anyway,
Amen.
All right, back to other questions.
Aubrey's like, it got way too serious, guys.
We love you guys. Okay, next question is from Leon. Where was the idea for Boudreaux's Cajun accent gone? Kind of back to,
So I served my mission for my church, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in Louisiana, Mississippi, and I loved that accent down there. There's actually quite a few accents down there, but I love that accent, and that's honestly why. That's how I got the inspiration, and that's how I could do the accent. Is because I might have learned a little bit as I was there.
Cool. Okay, next question. This is from Riley. He also is from Utah and has a podcast. I can't remember what it was at this moment. I'm so sorry. But what has been a memorable or funny moment for everyone and a favorite serious one? So a funny, memorable moment and a serious, memorable moment.
Well, pretty much anything where there is a Lila Boudreaux semi-funny interaction is hilarious. I love them all.
I think my favorite funny is Long Nose. At least at this moment. But another one would be my letter with Fenrir. I loved writing that letter.
Yeah,
That
was
such a good one. So
I love all the little running jokes off of those things that keep popping up.
Yes.
The inside jokes.
My favorite one is still the were creature one, where the human
human
went. Still so perfect to this day.
No, but for real, my favorite part is that not necessarily that the things that Elsie comes up with, but the fact that Elsie can't remember half the things that she comes up with.
Yes, we like to.
You remember when you said this, Elsie?
I didn't say that.
It was seriously
no.
like a half hour ago.
there's been multiple occasions where you guys are like, you said that, and I'm like, no, I didn't.
And then she goes back and listens. She's like, oh yeah, and then forgets again.
No, usually David shows me. He's like, no, seriously, you did. I'm like, what?
And I loved it. She's like, I don't remember.
I also loved when Fenrir /Zeb did Henley, where have you been? And I think that was one of the first times he actually sang on podcast.
It was.
Sweet Henley.
Where have you been?
Henley.
Where have you been? Yeah, that was a really cool moment.
While riding on the back of a horse.
Yes.
Yep.
It's true.
I think one of my favorite moments, and this goes back to episode 1.
Ooh.
Way back to episode 1. And I remember the nervousness.
Oh yeah, we were so scared.
So
We were
nervous.
all like shaking.
Hey, I was literally stuttering.
So nervous. And I'm trying to, introduce all the characters, making sure everybody has their moment. And it's when Henley meets Fenrir.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, here you see Henley, you meet this bard over in the corner, and then you just hear this little voice from Zeb go, hello. I just lost it. I thought it was so funny. And
I think we all lost it. We're
trying
like,
to convince him.
We tried to convince him for like 5 solid minutes to carry that voice.
Hit that voice. But it was such an important moment, too, because that's when we relaxed.
True.
That's
Broke
when we're
the
like,
ice a little
okay,
bit.
let's have some fun.
Yep.
Let's do this. So that's one of my most memorable ones. My most serious one, I think, has to go to Lila and Garotha when you handed that gold.
oh, when I was
Stone.
crying.
Yes.
That
I literally
moment.
wept here. Like, it wasn't like a fake.
No, that was not
Yeah.
fake. None of that is faked, guys. None of it.
David and I both cried in that episode.
Yeah, that was probably one of the serious moments. of
That's
there.
a really
Just
good post show too.
that post show. I think that was like our first post show,
So
right?
too. I had to go run after that because A, I had way too much caffeine, and B, I was like on an emotional high.
Yeah, that would have to be my funny/serious moment.
I think one of my favorite serious moments was when Lionel died, and we had to go tell his wife about it, and just David's emotion, like just sinking into that character and how she'd feel, and then how he described her mourning over his dead body and just not even caring about hygiene or anything like that. But not that we would, but it was just such an emotional moment, especially also in character for Henley, because she was back in her hometown. She knew all these people pretty well, and it was really close to home, and her dad is buried in that cemetery. And so it just brought a lot of emotions.
I think that's the
Was
first time
really-
that David cried, though, with like a character was like, or what he thought a character was going through or something. I don't remember. I just remember like it was either that one or something really close to like, I'm really sorry. I just had a really quick flash of like in my head, and it was really emotional. I was like, oh,
I think the first time I cried was with Bellerin.
oh,
Oh,
maybe.
yes, with the loot.
I was gonna say that actually,
Way back in episode 6 or 7.
Five or
which
six,
is
just-
actually around where one of my favorite serious moments are. Is me talking to Rochelle, because it was the first time that like I actually almost started crying because I was like I miss my family, and it was the first time I realized like, wow, this character feel like I can feel what my character feel like I can be in character and feel that. So that's why it's one of my favorites because I was like, wow, okay, here we go.
Evan, it's your turn. You haven't answered anything yet. That way. Funny. Favorite
Yes. I am very proud of all of Roscoe's
Speeches?
No, well, I don't want to like the speeches I like, but more the I've got Roscoe's got his speeches to everyone else, the speech to the Duke and the speech to Ivan and all those other things. But I think more of his interactions on the one-on-ones with Henley in Avalon and with Lila Garotha and stuff, kind of more. Even with the Lila Garotha situation, I didn't say a whole lot, but his impact there and stuff, and
His
just
supporting.
the support role. Yeah, I'm the support role. I'm the medic.
And the
I
leader.
don't seek to. Yeah, you at that point in time though, like you're the rock, you're the steady shore in a sea of confusion and chaos.
But I think just in general, those it's hard to choose one, but those moments I think are the most impactful for me. And then as far as entertaining goes,
Blue potato, I knew it. How did I know?
I mean that's been fun, but just the whole running jokes with Boudreaux and in general from when we first met up with Ivan and then again in the cave and stuff. Just the times that we have a team has kind of broken the seriousness, even if it made What's Her Bucket question us mentally. It was fun both as a player and I think as the characters. It was good development to see that they were able to have that little bit of downtime and a little bit of fun, even when they know that literally everything is falling apart around them.
I feel like also the downtime in our podcast is part of what makes us unique because so many podcasts focus on like, we're fast paced, we keep going and all this. And then, but you miss the internal workings of the characters and how they interact with each other. And
the actual like building and the relationships and stuff like that. Why would I trust you? What, other than trauma response, why should I trust you?
or it's a game. We just trust each other.
Yeah.
So-
My favorite serious moment has already been talked about as far as with Lionel.
Yeah.
With his passing and just all that. Same thing, having to tell his wife, and that was probably the first time I was close to tears.
And I think I remember that when you were trying to tell her, and she's like, "No."
Yeah, right. And like, just yeah. My favorite funny moment would probably be Boudreaux's bath.
I forgot about that.
Boudreaux's bath is so good.
I forgot the soap.
That was really fun to add sound effects to, by the way.
Hey, but for the record, that him running on the cement, that was my hand.
That was all
That
her
was me
hands.
going.
Slapping him. Yep.
Next question is from Jacob. Okay, what class and race, including exotic races, would you switch to if you had to switch to something different?
I know.
Okay, there's a second part of this question, but everybody quick.
For bulk.
That's because you just played a free bug and you're like, these are dope, guys.
Yeah. or one of the bunny characters.
The
Rabbit
bunny
folk?
ones?
Yeah, could you imagine Boudreaux as a
It would definitely make the Lila interaction a lot more weird.
Because you always summon bunnies.
I do actually. That's a weird point.
Anyway.
I'm thinking pretty weird enough as it is, guys. No, I really like. I can't even remember what they're called. David has to remind me every single time. I really like the bird creatures.
Aarakocra, yeah.
Yeah, those are
Not the
super fun.
Kenku.
Or the Kenku, yeah. Not the Kenku.
Not Kenku.
No, it's the Aarakocra.
Yeah, those are really fun. I think that like even looking at how you would play them is, especially in the campaign where we're sit right now, would be a little bit challenging. I think it'd be interesting.
You're talking about the ones that mimic? Is that the one you're talking about? Okay, that is the Kenku.
Yeah,
is
no.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
the
is the
Kenku
Kenku.
for sure.
Okay.
Because that, like, can you imagine how that would actually work?
Yeah.
It'd be so hard, but you definitely play a bard.
Yes.
Well, anybody who knows me knows that my favorite playable race is the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I also think it would be fun to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's because in our other campaign, we have a friend who plays a turtle, and we've just dubbed her Michelangelo.
A dual-wielding fighter turtle.
Uruguay.
So for me,
Master Uruguay.
I think it would be the class would be a barbarian. And as far as race goes, I really like playing elves. But I think I'm leaning more towards like a barbarian orc.
I love orc
combo.
stats,
The next
like
time I
either
play.
full orc or half orc. They're fun.
Yeah. David's got to say.
David,
I
yeah,
get a
yeah,
choice?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Good choice.
If Solemn had to be something other than what he is, what would
if
Solemn be?
Had if he wasn't a halfling, I think he would probably. I mean, it's kind of a cheap question. He'd be a gnome. Then he'd probably be a forest gnome.
That is a
What
good
is-
question.
What is DM Dave like? What is your favorite race to play, or something
My
that
favorite
you
race?
personally? If there's a race that you haven't played yet that's like really like, let's do this.
Well, I know what your favorite race to play is.
My favorite race to play is definitely
Gith.
Gith Yankee. That's my favorite race to do, and I really like tagging him with the Paladin. Paladin is also my favorite to class to play. But if I had to choose, if I had one that is like, ooh, I really want to play that race, I think that would be interesting. Oh, goodness. I would probably have to think. Oh, I have no idea. I can't.
We've played a lot of different ones.
We've played a lot, but I can't think of a race that's just like Ooh, I'll
It
play it
just
because the
stands
ones that
out.
I am interested in, I've already
play.
played. Yeah.
Fair enough.
He wants to play Kenku as well.
Yeah. We could be Kenku buddies.
was on my list. Yeah.
It's just hard to think about how would I actually do that?
Yeah. The class that I thought, if you go into the class-wise, it'd probably be a wizard.
Statistically, it makes more sense.
But I struggle so bad with spellcasters.
David does not like spellcasters.
No, boo.
Hey, I'm with you.
Okay, my favorite class to play is cleric. I love playing clerics so much. I just love how they're built, and I love having a specific job to do. And when you're a cleric, you always have something specific to do. Heal people.
No. I deny that. It's not true fact.
That's because
except for Elsie. Elsie
you're a
does
circle
not
of
heal
life
people.
shaman. You're built a little bit differently.
I'm built different.
Okay, continue.
My favorite race to play is halfling all the way because you guys know I am a horrible roller and I love having lucky. My favorite combo. I've never played a cleric halfling before. That would be interesting. I also think it'd be really cool to actually play air cockra because you can fly.
Oh, yeah, a cocker would be fun for that reason.
So would you make Henley a halfling then? Because I think that's what the original question was, right? If you
Yeah,
had to
I don't
change your
know.
character.
I think Henley is perfect as a human. I think if I had to play her as a different race, definitely a half elf or an elf.
Oh, mine would
Because
definitely be
she's a
tiefling then.
ranger. Hello.
What was that?
I said mine would have been a tiefling then for sure.
Yep. So that's part of the discussion, yeah. Did you have a different idea, Zeb?
It'd probably be a human if it wasn't an elf.
That's because you're a
It'd
half
still be a
elf.
bard. Yeah.
This is from Everyday Superheroes. Where did the decision to emphasize original music in your show come from?
Definitely our connection with D.A. Nichols. Because me and Abby and Elsie have been in contact with hers for
2015.
Since 2015, when we were in her, when we first were in melodramas with her. Because D.A. Nichols is super talented. She writes melodramas and she's written melodramas and
She writes
music
the
for
music, words, the playwright, everything.
everything for the past since we've
And
been
also
in it.
does all the background stuff to help
Builds
build the
sets.
set, painting. Like
Super
she can do
talented
it all.
lady, and her wife helps out with that too. Very talented lady as well. And
It also sets us apart as different because we have original songs.
right,
And we all
And they're actually sung songs, not just music.
we just all like music in general. I don't know if you've noticed or not.
and we just asked her one time, like, "Hey, we're making a podcast.
Want to write a song for
You
us?
want to write a theme song for us?" And that's where,
I'll write them all.
like,
Yeah, for real.
she had us explain who Solomon the Chaos Bard was, and she wrote that. From
Yeah.
the little things that we got.
A funny thing about that, when we told her what we wanted, I think we used Hunchback of Notre Dame, the da 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 da
the bells of Notre
the
Dame.
bells, because that song is sung differently throughout the entire production of that show and playwright. So it's we wanted a song that could be sung sad, happy, angry, and still have the similar, like, bouncy sort of feel. And just on the Chaos Bard was born, that song.
Yeah, and then once we told her that, she wrote like 9 different songs.
Yep.
She's like, "Oh, we just wanted one, but thank you."
And she still writes more and more and more, and we love her.
So
'kay,
that's where we got the inspiration for original songs.
we are almost out of time, so a couple more questions. Do we have any dice rituals? Yes,
Yes.
we do.
I have this timeout chair sitting in front of me. My coworker made it for me.
I know a lot of people use different dice, but when I start switching up dice, my rolls get worse. So I only roll with one set of dice for all my characters. It doesn't matter how many dice I have. I roll damage dice with other dice, but not my D20. It's my lucky D20, although sometimes it doesn't.
It's
like
not
me.
so lucky for you.
But it's better than my other dice. Becky.
Do I have dice rituals? No, I have specific sets of dice for specific characters, and some of them come with multiple d20. So I'll just roll whichever's to see how they roll for the day.
I usually just will pick a set and roll the d20 a couple times, and if it looks okay, then we'll roll with it. If not, move on to the next set and see what turns up.
Very similar to that. I will roll the d20 until I get good numbers, and then I'll stop, and then we'll use it. Sometimes I'm there for a minute, but
I give my dice pep talks.
Yes.
Come on, guys, you can do it.
I also say, please bless, dice gods bless. Maybe a little sacrilegious, but it's in a joke.
Crit damage.
I mean, for the record, I have a D20 in my bag that I carry with me for emergencies, but it
does.
only rolls good if it's with its $20 bill. That is Other than that, it rolls
true.
very badly.
So she's got a sacrificial $20 bill in her pocket or her bag all the time.
just so you know.
Okay. I feel like we definitely need to answer this question because he's one of our big fans from Joel. And
Yes.
He has also donated Feed the Cast a couple times. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the players and DM, what is your... we already answered this. What is your favorite class and why? Most of us...
we didn't do class.
Okay, I did.
We did race, didn't we?
We did. And I did mention paladins are my favorite class.
And I said clerics are my favorite class because I like to heal people.
And I like paladins because they have a little bit of magic, but they are
tanks.
Yep. They like to fight. I love tanks.
Okay, Elsie, what is your favorite class?
It's
And
I'm
why?
not exactly sure because David won't let me play one, but a druid or a monk.
Monks are fun.
And in David's defense, you had the option to play a druid. You just
And then
didn't
he was
want
like,
the consequences.
But then I'll kill you.
He probably told you the same thing that he told me. He's like, okay, but you will have a constant target on your back. And I'm
Yep.
like, okay, fine.
In other words, I'd be dead. Okay, move
Yeah,
on.
basically why she's not a tiefling too.
Exactly.
I don't have one.
That's okay.
I mean, I've played a druid and a fighter, so.
You're like, yeah.
But I've really wanted to play like a wizard, but like David, the spell slots and the whole magic side of things really scare me. But I might endeavor in that one day. So, but I've thoroughly enjoyed my fighter and my druid.
Yay.
I really like playing a paladin.
The smites get you every time.
Yep.
That was what your first character was. You really
was.
loved him.
Yep. I did.
Didn't he die?
Yep. He did.
Took
yeah,
out
my character
hardcore.
killed him.
took out another PC too.
Yeah. Okay. In my defense, that paladin asked my character to kill him.
I did.
So,
You
okay.
don't have to like defend anything.
I like murdering
I am
other
not
characters.
a PC killer.
That's because you're a murder hobo.
Bad decisions.
I am.
Okay. Who here has played any other tabletop RPGs? If so, which ones and why?
I don't think so. I think I've only played D&D.
Me either.
I haven't played any outside of D&D.
Me and Abby have played
We played Pathfinder.
and
And
then a Hero's Tale.
a hero, yeah, something. It was a indie RPG,
Yeah,
independent. Who will be at the convention with AssaultCon?
yeah, that's in the past now.
It's in the past. But anyway, I have also played Vampire the Masquerade. I've also played Redigo, which was really fun. Hopefully, we're going to have more information and a promo for David soon or eventually. What other ones have I played? Oh, I have a My Little Pony TTRPG book, but I haven't played it yet.
When you're on a stream for Vampires the Masquerade,
Yeah, I am.
that's
It is
that's
fun.
not family friendly.
No, it's like PG-14 TV rated.
Yeah.
There's some swearing and stuff.
But if you want to see me and Abby play the Pathfinder one, we actually played that one on another stream.
Yeah, Party of Two.
Party of
which
Two.
Our episodes are family friendly.
Yeah,
The ones that we're in are family friendly.
most of their stuff is
Most of
is
their
family
stuff is,
but they
yes.
do get into more of the adultish themes. So if you wanted to look into that, you can search us up on those episodes. I forget what episode numbers they are, but they have a YouTube channel, Party of Two. You can find me and Abby were on there for
Like
3 or 4 or 5
Yeah, but each
episodes.
stream is like 2.5 hours long,
Yeah.
if not longer.
So if you want to see me play, go check those out. But yeah, that's all I can think of.
Okay. Someone did ask.
Someone asked if Boudreaux could sing.
Yes.
We already heard him sing in the bath.
I think they want to know if you can sing as well.
I can sing.
I think we've already established that on
Yeah.
the podcast. You can sing.
The question also that went with what is Lila or
No.
Grotha the dominant
We don't need to answer that one.
personality?
Just the Boudreaux part.
Depends on the day.
That was from Afton. And Boudreaux, yes, you can sing. Your theme song has words.
Yeah,
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
else does. Except
You want to
for
hear a part of
songs.
it? Boudreaux! Boudreaux! He come and go. There you go.
It's a walking song.
That's wonderful.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and we will probably do another mailbag next year for 3 years. So if you really enjoyed this, think about your question, and next December we'll probably put out an announcement again saying we're going to do another mailbag. So keep those thoughts rolling. Oh, and get your Dear Boudreaux questions answered. They are only $1, or if you become a patron on our Ko-Fi, you get on any of the tiers, tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, you get a free Dear Boudreaux question.
It's just $1, guys. Absolutely.
And all proceeds go directly to the podcast, paying for subscriptions or whatever, art, except
Yep.
for all of the stuff.
All the money that we get from you guys is reinvested into the podcast.
to make the show better for you.
Yep.
Well, and I think that's it. Let's go around the table. To my right, we have
Dave.
Zeb.
Evan.
Becky?
Oh, see?
and I am Abby, your host for the mailbag. Bye.
Bye.